Egypt be categorized as personalist regime despite the more central role played by the EAF in the economy? And how can the military impact al-Sisi's legitimating narratives?
Okay, so I think there are two questions here, really. The first question is Sisi actually the person in charge, or is he kind of a figurehead for a coalition of senior officers? Right. So we know with the Free Officers coup, there was a there was like a group of revolution, the Free Officers they were called, and initially it wasn't clear whether the Free Officers functioned as a group or whether they were basically answerable to one person. Tan made it clear that actually, in fact, they were subordinate to Gamal Abdel Nasser, and it was really a personalist kind of regime. I think it's too early to say for sure what's going on with Sisi. I would have imagined that Sisi is more like a figurehead and ruling sort of in coalition with senior military officials. After all, prior to 2013, he hadn't really done anything that would justify his preeminence among the military class. On the other hand, he was able to sideline a lot of senior officers who seemed to have some kind of qualms about the policy decisions he was making. I'm thinking here of Sami Anan, for example. Also, the Shafiq. When Shafiq talked about running for president, Sisi was able to arrest him as well. Again, those things on their face aren't dispositive. It could just be that there's really deep backing within the military not to allow even that level of dissent to appear, even if the dissent appears to be coming from within the military. So that's one of the problems with authoritarian regimes is they don't really have transparency. It's hard to know who exactly or where exactly the centers of power are. I'm still inclined, though, to think that Sisi is much more of a figurehead and ruling in coalition with, implicit coalition with senior military officers rather than, by himself, so to speak, and in the face of or despite the will of senior military members. So that allows us to transition to the second question. Military sort of undermines Sisi? I think the answer is yes. But the question is, under what circumstances would they do so? I think it's the same kind of circumstances that we saw previously with Morsi Mubarak and King Farouk, is if, for one reason or another, you start getting widespread disobedience, widespread protests among the civilian population, indicating that they are just refusing to go along with Sisi's rule and actively undermining or protesting him, etc., then in that circumstance, the military again might assert its prerogatives and dispense with Sisi and put somebody else in place. But the military has to be careful because a lot of people will think that it's really the power behind Sisi, and it's any protests against Sisi could very well become protests against the military. If you recall, in 2011, the Egyptian demonstrators viewed the military as their own allies. So they would arrest, undercover policemen, thugs on the pro-Mubarak thugs on the street, etc., and they would turn them over to the military, right? So the people gave the military a lot of legitimacy. They recognized the military, or they assumed the military was some kind of clean institution that was neutral between the people and Mubarak, and they trusted it. Now, I don't know if that's so true anymore. So if there would be a replay of 2011, I think there would be a lot more willingness to confront the military itself as a target of the revolution, right? Unlike 2011. Because of that, I think it's much less likely that the military would act independently to resist Sisi, especially if you think that Sisi is kind of acting in coalition with other members of the military, because the military would know that anything that undermines the legitimacy of Sisi undermines their own legitimacy. And so I personally find it hard to believe that they would act against him in any meaningful way.